Okay, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good Saturday, good Sunday, depending on where you're coming from. My name is Merrill McBride in SL, Merrill Johnson in RL. I'm a professor of geography at Colorado State University. Recently retired, but still active in teaching, and I'll be even more active at this point going forward in SL. I was asked if I would reprise a tour that I offered about a year and a half ago of the Colorado State University Virtual World Campus. Actually, CSU has 30,000 students in Fort Collins, so this is more like the Department of Anthropology and Geography in-world campus. We're the main ones who use this, although I have some colleagues in engineering who are active in virtual worlds as well. So what I would like to do today is say just a few words at the beginning about what we're trying to do here, and then I'm going to lead you on a short tour that will end up, at least the formal part of the tour, in a walk through the tropical rainforest. And I see, like me, most of you are dressed just to go right into a tropical rainforest, but that doesn't matter in a virtual world. And Dee Lake is in the tropical rainforest area, and she will answer any questions about the tropical rainforest. And Phil, you're talking about things physical. That's where my physical geography cross-training is needed, so I can talk about different types of climate systems, at least at an introductory level. And, well, okay, tagline, mosquito repellent is helpful. What about your snake bite kit? All right, if I may direct your attention to the front of the room, and by the way, this is the conference slash classroom area of the departmental presence here. But if I may direct you to the front, to the big screen on the wall here, the comments I'm going to make are found in this presentation. And I'm sorry, the screen is sort of small. I thought we were going to meet at the Science Center originally, so I was going to do a full-size screen, but this should work well enough. Everybody knows how to cam closer to the screen. But for those of you who are not familiar with Colorado State University and its location, if you look at the first slide here, you see that we're in the state of Colorado, obviously, which is in the western part of the United States, in the Rocky Mountain part of the United States. The university lies at about 5,000 feet, which is what, 1,900 meters for those of you in using European measures. And right near the university, we have elevations up to 14,000 feet. So you can do a lot of up and down traveling within just a few miles. You see that on the map of Colorado itself, Fort Collins is just north of Denver, and is part of the Denver metropolitan region, which goes from Fort Collins all the way down along the front range of the Rockies down to Pueblo, Colorado. We have a staff here that I have to acknowledge. Denise is standing in the back of the room. Denise Infinity is our interior design consultant. So everything that you see here related to furnishings, the chairs, the building itself is the result of the genius that Denise has for interior design of education facilities in particular. So I want very much to acknowledge her gift, her magic, and half the stuff that she has done, I would have no way of doing on my own. So let me assure you that if I were on my own, this place would not look nearly as nice as it does right now. And most of us know Delia Lake already. She's our ecosystem design consultant. She's actually up in the tropical rainforest area. Uh, she's helping with another project at the same time, so she's multitasking this morning, which is why she's not here. At any rate, you'll get to see her shortly. Just a brief review of what we're trying to do here. We have a pedagogy problem at the college level. Geographers, like instructors in many disciplines, struggle increasingly to keep students engaged in the learning process. The traditional lecture-based sage on the stage model seems increasingly inadequate to the task, especially given the technological options available to students. The goal of this project, a long-term goal, is to examine virtual world teaching possibilities that will engage and motivate students more directly through experiential and situational learning using my undergraduate first-year course called GR 102, which is Geography of Europe and the Americas, as a test case. And I've already done that one time. All right, the larger purpose is to create pedagogical places in social virtual worlds to develop new approaches to geographic instruction, focusing initially on a Second Life capability. Objectives, quite simply, to develop an electronic space on the STEM complete with structures and appropriate eco-forming or landscaping to support geographic instruction, to create pedagogical places on the SIM that can be used to develop virtual world-based strategies for geographic instruction, and to prototype novel teaching strategies appropriate to virtual worlds, focusing on situational learning using that course I just described, GR 102, as the test course. Our design values are to design an educational infrastructure that's informed by a desire to enhance a feeling of social presence among faculty and students by creating recognizable and familiar settings, electronic cognates of the physical world, in a sense, as a way of relieving potential anxieties produced by avatar engagement with virtual worlds, and providing cues regarding the mission of the space. There is scholarly background for what I just said here. I won't go into that at the moment. In addition, we are building presentations that are aesthetic and detailed. And secondly, providing second settings that are realistic as possible, given the limitations of virtual worlds, to enhance student learning and to help students to feel the lesson. Examples in terms of climate include the tundra and rainforest demonstrations already in place. Realism, of course, is not limited just to physical settings. And before I go forward, we have a full house here. Is everybody understanding me when I speak? Sometimes a full house will interfere and cause my speech to break up a little bit. Okay, thank you. All right, one more slide. This is a long-term process. Last fall, I taught GR 102, and I usually teach it to anywhere from 90 to 110 students. And it's face-to-face, and I've been doing the course since 1981, believe it or not. Oh, by the way, I've had to change things a little bit since then. When the Soviet Union fell apart in 1991, I had to change a lot of things. Uh, in the fall semester of 2024, my Geography 102 class was given a writing option that allowed them to explore a metaverse experience that included highly rudimentary situational learning possibilities. Tundra and tropical rainforest representations in particular, and a plate tectonics display. Uh, and thanks to Dave Miami, who's sitting with us today, for helping out with that. Uh, of a class of 90 students, 15 students made the leap. Now, okay, there was a mercenary side of me involved here. I offered extra credit if they would learn how to operate a Second Life avatar. I knew what motivated students. Not a whole lot of extra credit, but some. Okay, well, I won't go into the details of what these students were asked to do. It was to uh, respond to different settings in Second Life, of which I provided the first three. And I'm going to show you today formally the tropical rainforest version, but I also have a tundra version still up from the last time we got together, and I have a plate tectonics version that students use. The other settings, students were on their own, and I provided some options elsewhere in SL, and I also invited students to find other options that they might find attractive. Okay, in brief, what were the takeaways from this? This was not a scientific process here. This was sort of an ad hoc process uh, that students took part in. So at this point, I don't have anything that shows uh, serious conclusions like I would have if I had done a more systematic study. So uh, here's some of the findings. Prior student online learning experiences were highly variable, but there was a willingness to learn. Okay? Now, I had a couple of students who had already experienced Second Life, one in particular who had his own avatar. And his response to the class was, "Oh my God, you mean you can actually take a course in Second Life?" His, uh, his experience in Second Life was basically a gaming experience uh, transposed to Second Life. All right. Now, most students did have some problems with the technical part. I provided all sorts of technical learning experiences, and the person with one of the biggest technical issues was my teaching assistant, who could never really get the voice to go, and she was a very experienced gamer in RL. So there are some technical issues still that have to be addressed if we're going to be doing full-time experiences in SL. Most students found that being able to walk through concepts that I discussed in class, in other words, walk through a tropical rainforest, found that was valuable. They found meaning in that experience, and I found that encouraging. The students, of course, were allowed to comment after the semester on their experiences, and I found no real negative responses. Like, oh, this was a cartoon land. I really am sorry that I volunteered to do this. Now, there are all sorts of reasons why that could have been. These students were self-selected in a sense to take part in a virtual world. The other 75 students in the class may have had a different perspective from the get-go and said, I'm not going to do that because it is a paper doll session that I don't need. And as I mentioned before, only one student had prior SL experience and indicated an interest to continue working in SL. Most other students turned in their loaner avatars, and by the way, I configured 15 what I called CSU avatars that I would lend to students, and then they turned them back in at the end of the semester. And they didn't express any great enthusiasm for continuing in their avatars to do other things in Second Life. This is something else that would have to be dealt with. If Curious George from Caltech were here, I don't see him here, he would talk about how he's had to develop all sorts of extra activities for students, social activities to keep students interested. I'll let him report on the success of that, but I think that is important going forward to have those sorts of activities. All right, I'm going to take people on a very brief tour, and then I'm going to turn you loose and let you go wherever you want. Denise just configured several of our horses out at the stable that you should be able to ride. And this is the way I interested students on the first day of class. I said, how many of you can stay on a horse in Second Life? And that did attract a lot of people. Now, of course, this is Colorado State University. This is the Ag University of the state. So riding a horse for a lot of students here is not something that's unknown. We have a lot of ranch kids from the eastern part of the state. So anyway, that was a good icebreaker. So before we move forward, are there any questions that I can answer at this point?
Hey, Merrill, can I say a few words? I don't know what your time is like. Yeah, I just want to say a few things that some of you may know, may not know. I have my Ph.D. in the Cretaceous geology of the Western Interior, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming. I always wanted to teach in Colorado. My dream was University of Colorado Boulder. I went to that campus and got zero support, even though I've got a PhD in the area. Merrill, on the opposite, and CSU has been the exact opposite. Very welcoming. I've yet to get to the CSU campus in real life, but I greatly appreciate she's given me a small office here. We've, like she mentioned, we worked on a plate tectonics project. I've worked with Marie Vans. I've actually co-taught a class virtually online with Marie Vans. So to me, Marie and Merrill, they're true pioneers in the 21st century. They don't talk the talk, they walk the walk. And I'm just so impressed and happy to help them out in any way I can in terms of what they're doing online. You guys are awesome.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm going to make an appointment for you to talk with the vice president, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm trying to hit you up for a bigger office on the campus. We'll talk about that later.
I I was I was a vice president of another university before I came to Colorado State, and I don't care where you are, it just takes a whole lot of it just takes forever to break through the obstacles at a university when it comes to something as exotic as they would say as the social virtual world. And I could spend a whole nother presentation on talking about problems dealing with academics and administrators, and I say that from the perspective of being a past VP. But anyway, conversation for another time. Thank you so much, Dave. We'll walk by his office on the way down. Any other observations? All right, I'm going to ask you to join, to get up, and we're going to walk a little bit, and then I'm going to turn you loose. And if you'd follow me, I'm going to take you through the building.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Yeah, so you said that you didn't seem to have much success with the students. I was just wondering, is that partly because they didn't like the SL interface? Maybe they would have more success if you chose students that were already on SL for prior reasons?
Well, I think that's something that I think that's something that's a very legitimate question. And I would like to see us try that. Uh, on the other hand, you know, I really want to get new bodies here. And the one student I had who was a professional SL type, of course, had an easier time all across the board. And other people who are already in SL would have the same easier time with the interface. And so I'm anxious to get both, but I'm really anxious to get new people in. You know, these kids, they're between 18 and 22, especially in the course that I was teaching. Some people say that they're digital natives. It's interesting. They're digital natives if they can go in and kill something in world in a game. But they should have some expertise in a social virtual world. I mean, they should have some understanding of an avatar. And actually, I was surprised how many are still struggling with the idea of an avatar. And so there are all sorts of variables involved here that I'd love to study, and I want to continue studying them down the road. The place we're in here is sort of an office area. Off to my left is where Delia and Denise have their office spaces. We have a professor in the office at the rear of the room, and the state manager is located here. So we have an office space for people who want to spend some time here. Off to my right is where our students would meet, and Elise is my student assistant, my teaching assistant. Now, my TA gave me back the avatar, so I'm running Elise at the moment. But this is where our students would gather. It's also a second office for the Avatar Scholar magazine that we put out recently. So if you'll follow me through the building, we have more offices. Off to the left, my office is through the big double door, along with office for another assistant that we have that is over to my right. Graciela is a person who stays around when I'm not here, and I get messages through her. And she has, and once again, I'm controlling her at the moment. Now, if you'll notice over here, it's directly in front of me, we have a display out for a book that Robert Groth or Keeper Baxton has written. He's sitting behind it. We do that on occasion to help support scholarly activity in world. There's some better places for large groups if you want to talk about something that you're doing. But we're willing to put up announcements and so forth to help spread the word about something that is relevant to what we do in the social virtual world, scholarly and in terms of teaching and the like. I just saw somebody step in and then out of my office. Let me assure you, I've never in my whole professional life in RL had an office that nice, okay? So that's one thing you can do when you come in and build an office in a Second Life environment. Now I'd like to direct you through the entry point to the building.
For that introduction to my book.
I'm sorry, somebody speaking to me?
Thanks for that introduction to my book. This is
Oh, yeah, you're quite welcome. And I'm sure Keeper would be happy to answer any questions.
stuck or something, so I'm not sure quite, but I'm hoping my voice is getting through. Just wanted to say hi, everybody, and I thoroughly enjoy this office. It's one of the best offices I've ever been in and looked around in, so enjoy the tour.
Okay, great. Thank you, Keeper. Let me take you through the area that students come into at the beginning. And we have all sorts of NPCs set up, and you can click some of them and get a message. I want to convert these NPCs into AI-infused helpers. I'll say more about that in just a moment. So, if you would join me here, please. And now is when you need to slather on the mosquito repellent. And you can see some of the other sites on campus. I'm going to ask you to just click the rainforest biome. For those, if the lettering is a little bit too vague, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth level down. Okay, click the rainforest environment, and okay, everybody. I've got one person who seems to be having a problem getting up. Let me see if I can bring her up. Be careful where you walk. Students who came up here, they all, and you click on the NPCs here, and you'll see that there were questions asked and assignments issued and so forth. But one of the reactions was students said, this is one of the spookiest places they've been in a long time. I said, okay. That's the whole point right there.
And then if you go to the other one, you'll note that there are differences, even though they look similar. Because one of the major differences is the rise of the Andes mountain range, and the can walk around and ask questions. I could talk for a long time, but I think it's better to experience it and look all around you, look up and down, and then ask some questions.
Okay. And she'll hang around for.
Yeah, this is an area has heavy rainfall. The average annual temperature here is 77 degrees, which is approximately what the earlier version is as well. But it's very humid here. So you'll notice not only you have waterfalls, but you also have rain here. And so while there isn't a lot of large scale flooding, things are wet all the time.
Difficult to do more than. It makes it very difficult to chop down trees and grow corn, expect anything to happen after more than 3 or 4 years. But so. Okay, Phil, you're next to the anaconda. Please don't ask me to join you.
Well, there's a cool looking jaguar next to the anaconda over there.
Be
So
careful. You,
I have a
you'll get
question about
lost. I didn't do it.
so
Uh,
I'm asking Delia, I guess, because I thought Delia would
yeah,
be.
multitasking at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. As you'll notice, soil, and that has happened in a number of places in Brazil already. And what happens ultimately is that this kind of an area then turns into the jaguars, and you will hear crocodile, and you will hear monkeys. So you have more. So there were periods where there was land that connects the northern part of South America and Central America has disappeared and then returned, as it does in many of the barrier islands along the Atlantic and other.
I just learned. Uh, what I want to do, I want to shut down the formal part of today's presentation. I'm going to go back down to ground level by clicking the exit over there. And I encourage you to walk around. I encourage you to go to the other platforms. The way to the other platform is through the same series of clicks that brought us up here. And if you want to ride a horse, we'll see what we can do to get you mounted and then thrown off, whatever. And thank you for coming today. And I'll be around for the next little while to answer any other questions that you may have on an individual basis. So I'm going to go down. Stay here as long as you want. For those of you who brought a picnic lunch, this is a perfect place, right? And